Hello. Today's story is about a cat who really likes the sea. It's called Zoom at Sea. Zoom is the name of the cat. It's by Tim Wynne-Jones, illustrated by Eric Bellows. Zoom loved water, not to drink. He liked cream to drink. Zoom liked to play, like water to play with. One night, when a leaky tap filled the kitchen sink, Zoom strapped wooden spoons to his feet with elastic bands. That's pretty funny, isn't it? And paddled in the water for hours. He loved it. Look at that. What a crazy cat. Paddling in the sink. The next night, he made a boat from a wicker basket with a towel for a sail. Blown around the bathtub all night, he was as happy as could be. There was no stopping him. Every night, when other self-respecting cats were out mousing and howling, Zoom stayed indoors and sailed about in the dark. By day, he watched the tap and dreamed. There you can see him sailing around. Look at that. His basket and his towel for a sail. One afternoon, while dreaming in the attic, he noticed a shelf he had never seen before. A dusty diary lay next to a photograph of a large yellow tomcat with white whiskers and a black sou'wester. Sou'wester is a hat for keeping the water and the rain off your head. It was inscribed, "For Zoom from Uncle Roy." Zoom opened the diary, and on the last page he found an address and a map. The sea and how to get there, it said. There it is. Picture of Uncle Roy. Zoom finding the diary. The sea was not far, really. Zoom took a bus. He arrived very early in the morning at a house with a big front door. It was so early, Zoom was afraid to knock, but the light was on, and if he listened closely, he thought he could hear someone inside. With great excitement, he rapped 3 times. There we go. There's the big door. He's knocking on that door. The door opened. Before him stood a large woman in a blue dress. She wore silver earrings and many silver bracelets on her wrists. "I want to go to sea," said Zoom nervously. The woman smiled, but said nothing. Zoom spoke louder. "I'm Uncle Roy's nephew, and I want to go to sea." "Ah," said the woman, nodding her head. "Come in, my little sailor." There's the large woman in the blue dress. You can't tell that with these nice black and white illustrations. Inside was cold and damp. "I am Maria," said the woman. I am not ready just yet." The room was quiet and dark. Everything was still. Far away, Zoom could hear a sound like a leaky faucet. He sat, trying to be patient, while Maria bustled around. Sometimes it was difficult to see her in the gloom, but he could hear the swish of her skirts and the tinkling of her bracelets. The sea was nothing like Uncle Roy had described in his diary. Zoom was sure he had made a mistake, and he was just about to sneak away when Maria looked at her watch and winked. "Now I'm ready." What has she been doing? There she is. She's getting all ready. And with that, she turned an enormous wheel several times to the right. The floor began to rumble. Machinery began to whirl and hum. The room grew lighter, and Zoom saw that it was very large. There she is. Oh boy. She's turning that big wheel. Now Maria pushed a button and cranked a crank. Zoom could hear the sound of water rushing through the pipes. First there was only puddles, and then it poured from the closet and lapped at his feet. Look at all this. Water just pouring in from everywhere. Zoom is pretty curious about that. Wouldn't you be? From rows upon rows of tiny doors, Maria released seagulls and sandpipers, pelicans and terns. From pots and cages she set free hundreds of crab and octopi and squid who hurried this way and that across the sandy floor. Maria laughed. Zoom laughed. This was more like it. Noise and sunshine and water, and from there was water everywhere now. Suddenly Zoom realized he could not see the walls of this giant room. Only the sun coming up like gold and silver fish dancing on the waves. Far away he could see a fishing boat. Maria laughed. Go on, it is yours. Here he is. Look at those sea stars and octopus and squids and seagulls. Quickly he gathered some old logs and lashed them together with some seaweed. He made a raft and decorated it with shells as white as Maria's teeth. When it was ready, he pushed and he heaved with all his might and launched the raft into the waves. What a clever cat. Look at that, his raft. You can see the ocean there. You can't even see the other side. But lots of seagulls and sea stars and shells on the beach. I'm at sea, he called. He danced around on his driftwood deck and occasionally cupped his paws and shouted very loudly back to the shore. More waves, more sun, more fish. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, is he having fun or what? Waves crashed against the raft. The sun beat down. Fish leapt across the bow and frolicked in his wake. Look at that. The surf is up. Oh, is he having a good time? Looks like he's lost his hat up there. Zoom looked back towards the shore and saw Maria. He realized then that he was tired. All that sailing must have made him tired. The waves subsided and the water gently began to roll towards the shore. Zoom sat and let the tide drift back with him. There he is. Drifting back. There's Maria on the shore. Looks like it's all nice and calm now. Oh, and it looks like you got some seals or sea lions on the rocks there too. He sat with Maria at her little table drinking tea and eating fish fritters, of course, and watched the sun sink into the sea. As the light dimmed, the room didn't seem half so big. Maria's bun had come undone, and there was sand in the ruffles at the bottom of her dress. But still she smiled, and her jewelry tinkled silver in the twilight. Look at them having their tea. Zoom seemed to have got his hat back. And Maria's hair is a little bit messy, isn't it? Thank you for such a great day, said Zoom as he stood at the door. May I come back? I'm sure you will, said Maria. And he did. There he is, heading out the door. And look at there. This looks like Uncle Roy here. Aw. And there you go. Zoom at Sea. One of my favorites when I was reading it to my children, and especially to my son, who then later on became a sailor and loves to sail. And we always quote that line, more sun, more waves, more fish. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that book, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye for now.